3 ways that you can feel more confident in yoga class. Now, whether you've attended classes before or you're just wanting to go ahead and get started, you've either thought about or experienced that uncomfortable feeling of being in a room full of people, not knowing what you're doing, having to look around, and that anxious feeling might be the opposite of what you're trying to achieve. So really, it's pretty simple. Number 1 is just to accept that it's gonna be uncomfortable, and that's okay. Number 2 is to start with some free resources that you have available before you show up. And if you don't have time for that, number 3 is just to be early. Let's break it down. So yes, number 1 is just accepting that you're not going to be sure of yourself at the start. It's always challenging doing something new, and especially when you're amongst people from very beginners to maybe very seasoned yoga practitioners. So just go in with the expectation that it's okay if you don't know everything. You're here to learn and experience. The teacher is there to help guide you throughout the process. 2 students of mine always tell me the story about when they started attending yoga classes. They were just cracking up, having a laugh because they had no idea what was going on, and it felt funny and awkward, and I just think that's the best approach. So just be a little playful, have an open beginner's mind that you're there to learn and just experience it in your body. And of course, my favorite point on this way to feel more confident in yoga class is that nobody's paying attention to you. It might feel on your map that you're fumbling and totally lost, but I assure you, nobody is paying attention to what you're doing. They are there for their own practice and focusing on themselves. And also, everybody has been there before at this point. So just go ahead and accept the fact that you're new to this and it's gonna feel awkward. Number 2, start by watching free YouTube videos to learn a little bit about the postures, and even if you just have a few minutes before class, look up a video about sun salutation or yoga flow, maybe beginner yoga flow, because you could pull up some pretty crazy postures that you most likely won't be doing in class. But just so you can start to familiarize yourself with the postures, so at least when they do teach you how to get into them, you know more or less what it will look like. If you have the time prior to class, maybe even start practicing at home. There's a few videos that you can just follow along with on my channel. Very simple, they break down the postures. I'll link them down below, or just take a few minutes to find a teacher that you connect with and start feeling into your body, moving and breathing, and your yoga practice can begin from your very own home. Before we move on though, just be careful not to get stuck here in this little comfort bubble, because working with a teacher in person, whether it's on Zoom or live in a studio, is just the best way to receive feedback and personal guidance so you can enjoy a nice, safe, and sustainable practice. All right, reason number 3 on how to feel more confident in yoga class is to please show up early. I know you're busy and it's already a huge accomplishment to carve out the time to attend a class. I get it. But especially when you're new, take an extra 15 minutes or so at least to show up early, set up your mat. Your teacher will tell you anything you need, where to go. It's likely you'll have to sign a waiver or fill out some paperwork when you're beginning. You'll familiarize yourself with the studio, where the bathroom is, where everything you need to have a successful class. Also, when you're rushing in and everything is chaos and you're thinking about the thing you were just doing prior or the guy who cut you off in traffic, it's gonna take away from your experience. You'll feel frazzled and maybe even a little more lost. So just take that 15 minutes to show up to the studio, meet the teacher. And an important point with that as well is your teacher will likely introduce themselves, and it'll give you a chance to discuss any injuries or anything that's going on in your body, so the teacher can help guide you in the best way possible. So yes, whether you've tried a class before and felt completely lost, or you're wondering on ways to prepare so you can feel good in your first class, number 1, adjust your expectations, have fun with it, and just be playful with yourself. Number 2, use the free YouTube resources to start familiarizing yourself with some of the postures. And number 3, show up early, at least before your first few classes. Because I've seen this instance so often in class, I actually made a free resource with 5 tips on how to be more confident in yoga class. These tips work for yoga, fitness classes alike, so go ahead and take a look. We'll go a little bit deeper into what was explained, plus even more bonus resources for you to check out, so I'll link that down below. And if you have a funny story from your first yoga class, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear those so we can laugh and have fun together. And if you're wondering how you can work with me, I'm a yoga teacher, bar instructor, and personal trainer. I'll go ahead and leave my website down below. Check it out. Thanks so much, and I hope to see you on the mat.